Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midweek Express, the last one of the month of May. Now we're like diving really into winter, and I hate this so
I
bad.
love it.
But I just have to leave. See, this is how we're different. I don't
I
even know why we're
love
doing the
it.
same show together.
I honestly wonder, like we never agree on anything.
Let's
you
try to
know.
agree that we both don't like winter.
No, I
Please.
love winter.
Anyway, we're gonna get into the month of June. I'm dreading this month. I'm dreading July, I gotta say. But we just have to cruise into it. Now, first of all, let me talk about just a little bit about Africa Day. It had me
Yes.
thinking, why was it a day? Why could we not have like Africa Week or like an Africa Month? Because
We kind of
there's
had
so
2 days. What are you talking about? We
No.
had 2 days of Africa Day.
No,
We had
no, no,
Sunday.
no, I'm not
we had
saying-
Monday.
no, my point is not on the holiday. You just came on to Monday.
Okay.
My point is
You want an Africa
there's
Week?
so much to appreciate, okay? There's so much rich cultural histories and cultural exhibitions and
Yeah.
taste and all these things that we can do culturally, like beyond Zim, in this African continent. It's so much so that one day is not enough. That's what I felt like.
I agree, honestly. But you know what? I think, we should kind of make it loud, even to an international level, where they get to understand and appreciate that we as Africans, we actually celebrate who we are,
But then one
as
day
a
is not enough.
people.
I feel like we had to like break it down where we have
Really?
Yeah, where we have like the southern part of it celebrates it on this day, and then
Okay.
East Africa does this,
Wow.
so that because it's so good and everything is so. Do you know how good it is?
It
do,
is.
Do you see the outfit nowadays? We have this thing where we've modernized our African outfits, but still there's the incorporation of the African feel in it,
Yes.
done by African people.
Yes.
It's so big. So one day, guys.
We need like a modeling session or something like that.
We
Like
just need
maybe
to,
a
like,
day
showcase it in
of
the entire week,
exhibition,
make it an entire
right?
month even.
Right,
That's the
I
point.
agree. But you know what? I think when it comes to the schools, they're actually doing a good job when it comes to that.
Right.
Because now the kids go to school and then they wear the African regalia and stuff. So it's something.
You
And
spend the whole day speaking our native languages,
Yes,
mother
exactly.
tongue, or
And that is something, honestly. So I feel like, we kind of appreciate who we are as a people, who are as Africans.
and one day is not enough. But anyway, I would
wow.
think we should petition for Africa Day to be
A week?
a week or a month even. But anyway, in our comments today, I feel like Gracie was waiting for this because she said football season is over. Aiwa guys, tapeza kunyangadzwa. We tatamuveta nyangadzwa hangu inini
No.
in my opinion.
No,
The games were just going. Or
Yeah.
maybe we're just not
And
so
we're like,
focused to it.
oh, we're just
Yeah.
like, okay, that's what happened. Oh, nice. Okay.
And then we were saying,
shame.
why so emotional? But
Like-
we
we
were
didn't
okay with it.
understand, honestly. And then Kelvin says, one day my comment will be read on your show. Oh, and we just
Well,
did.
congratulations, Kelvin. I think we should get into what we have for you today, and then we'll look at sports. First of all,
Yeah.
the game that Tottenham took the cup, it wasn't as loud as I expected it to be. I think
It's not.
around when was serious Tottenham, maybe that's why.
I don't think it's just you alone, but I don't know. There's something about it.
we're okay
No,
with it.
let
Let the
them remind
season
you.
begin and let us continue.
Okay.
Now, in our first story, here's if you could have graphics showing on me, you'd see the question marks just like going around my head. So a Norwegian man was roused by a neighbor in the early morning and alerted to an unusual situation. A cargo ship was in his front yard. So Johan said that he was sleeping inside his home, obviously, when a neighbor rang his doorbell and called his phone to alert him to the fact that a cargo ship had run aground on his backyard. If the ship had hit a rocky outcrop right next to it, it would have lifted up his house, rather. So it only missed by a few meters for it to blow out his whole house. So he said that the managing director of the shipping company, which is the NCL, said officials were investigating what caused the ship to run aground. He said that there was no injuries resulting in the incident. Police said an initial investigation indicates the officer who was responsible for steering the ship had fallen asleep on his post, and then his cargo ran into someone's yard. I think they live close to the shore.
You know how, like, I've never got to see it up close or in real life, but I've only seen it in movies where there's some people who have got their houses and they're so close to the shore, like
Yeah.
they're so close to the beach
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff, you understand? So something like this is very possible, honestly, because they'll be like very, very close to the water. So if any mistake there,
It starts to
everything
look like
can
a
just
whole. It starts to
go
look like
wrong.
a whole treasure chest, a huge one,
Yeah.
a very big one.
But I'm just wondering now, like the compensation that is going to come his way. It's
Well, his
probably
house
going
wasn't
to be.
hit.
It wasn't.
It wasn't
But
hit.
probably
Is
the
it was
gates
just a
and
few meters to his house. Normally, I don't think they would have gates to this. But then I don't think there's any compensation because nothing was, unless if he had a garden, maybe. But then, yeah, his house wasn't damaged. No person were even injured as well. So I don't think there is some compensation. Although,
Some luck.
it was a cool thing. He did probably made it to the news, you know, where he woke up in his house. Had a
Also, you
whole
you think
conversation.
that was actually good on his part that
Yeah,
he now
it was
he
cool.
had
You
some.
say it happened in our community. Maybe it's a very quiet place. Nothing really happens.
And
something
then
like
now
this
something happens, and then they're like,
Drama. And
oh,
we're like,
okay,
oh,
they have
some
something they can talk
action.
about.
Yes.
The whole week,
The whole week.
they have news for that. Now let's talk about women with superpowers. News anchors. Did you ever really think that it would spread onto that phase, like onto those people?
You're calling news anchors women with superpowers?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, this is what happened. So, a morning news anchor for a New York station went into labor in the early morning and still anchored the morning show less than 2 hours later. Her name is Olivia, and she's a morning news anchor for WRGB TV in Albany. And she anchored the 6 a.m. news broadcast on Wednesday after her water broke at about 4:15 a.m. We do have some breaking news this morning, literally, and this is what the core anchor Julia said at the start of the broadcast. Olivia's water has broke. Jacquith insisted it was still early labor with her contractions far apart and went on to anchor the entire broadcast before going to the hospital. I'm telling you, this is something.
No wonder you had to say superpowers.
Superpowers, honestly. And now they're, spreading over to the news anchors.
She actually did the whole show.
Yes.
While she's supposed to be labor. Normally, well, I think from what we've seen and from the experiences we've heard and all that, I think it's one of the most excruciating, unexplainable
pain.
Phases that happens in a woman's life. Maybe for a few hours, some even go even to the next day. But she anchored 2 hours of her whole show
before she actually went into labor. Like,
so she did what she had to do. Okay, and then she just like, you know what? Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. And then she walks off and she goes to the hospital and delivers.
And then now she starts panting or something. And
after her 2 hours of work.
She starts panting because she's in pain, but she was actually holding it all together.
This is where we say some things are only meant for, some things that just only women can do,
This is just, I don't know, this is extra.
This
is too much.
It is extra.
Yeah,
at this point, if they had said that she drove herself to the hospital, we would just be like, yeah, I guess she did. Because 2 hours on set and you're in labor, because the way you had to be calm during set and all the...
You have to be
composure, yes.
Very, very calm.
But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break on that very calm, surprising note. We'll take a short break and we'll come back and we'll tell you, we have some updates on the Kim Kardashian robbery that took place a couple years ago, also on the P. Diddy issue and some Michael Jackson updates, so don't go away. Welcome back. We're still watching the Midweek Express. Now, Michael, a biopic based on Michael Jackson's life, which was set to be released this year in 2025, has been delayed and will be released next year in 2026 with no specific date being given yet. Now, the director of the film said it's going to feature Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson, who, I gotta say, splitting image of Michael Jackson, if I might say, as the leading role in the making of the film. Now, during Lionsgate Q4 earnings call held on Thursday, May 22, CEO John said revealed that the film would likely not premiere until April of 2026. So Michael carries a hefty budget of approximately 155 million euros to make this biopic. And okay, So the delay marks a shift from an earlier schedule that indicated a release could occur in October of 2025. The adaptation is currently undergoing reshoots, a decision driven by a recently discovered legal clause that restricts mentions or dramatizations related to past abuse allegations against Michael Jackson. Now, please do note, the family still denies a whole lot of these accusations, but they were being said to be showcased in the biopic, but then they're saying we're going to redo on that part of the film. And the making needing a budget of 155 million. I gotta say, you know what? I think it's so Michael Jackson for that amount, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you're a Michael Jackson fan and you'd watch, you know, making of some of his songs like Thriller and Smooth Criminal and all that, he would have huge budgets for those films. Songs rather. See, they were films as well. But he would have huge budgets, especially back in the 90s where they didn't have a lot of technology that we now have. Michael Jackson went all out in creating songs and creating albums. So when they say they're going to make a film based on him and it's going to need 155 million, I gotta say it's fitting.
Honestly, I can't wait for this one. I'm really looking forward to it now, especially for the part that says it's not only going to be one part, it's now split into two separate parts. That's actually something, and it means that something very, very big is coming, and I don't think we're even ready for this.
I think something big coming is very also deserving because, come on, it's Michael Jackson.
It's Michael Jackson.
I mean, what else could you...
Like,
it's
that's
Michael
hefty.
Jackson.
155
like, you
million.
can even make it a docu-series. Wow. I would sit down and watch it still.
Definitely.
That's
I mean, you'd enjoy the entire time. You'd enjoy each and every.
And then I would even take the time to come and break down it for you guys, to break it down for you.
Yes, that's why we're here, of course, right?
That's how much I would enjoy it. Because, I mean, it's Michael Jackson. It's going to be big, right?
It is definitely big. But now let's talk about some P. Diddy issues. You know,
gosh.
a lot of things keep coming up and coming up and coming up when it comes to the P. Diddy case. And I don't think it's about to end anytime soon. It's not. So, besides looking like a strutted straight out of a Grease movie scene, Kid Cudi ended the second week of Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial with a dramatic testimony that brought new tension to an already complex case once again. So, Cudi, real name's court, testified on Thursday, detailing an unsettling encounter linked to his brief relationship with Cassie Ventura, Diddy's on and off partner at the time. According to Ms. Cudi, in December 2011, he was spending Christmas with Cassie and her family when she called him early one morning. She had just spoken to an employee of Combs who sounded very scared and claimed Combs and another man were inside Ms. Cudi's Hollywood Hills home. When Ms. Cudi contacted Combs, he recalled Combs telling him, "I just want to talk to you," and admitting he was at the house waiting for you. By the time Ms. Cudi arrived home, Combs had already left, but signs of the break-in were clear. Things escalated weeks later when Ms. Cudi's Porsche 911 convertible was set on fire while parked outside his home. He claimed someone threw a Molotov cocktail into the car. So this allegation is against Combs as well, but I'm just, the problem that I have with those people coming up now is why couldn't they not do it at the time?
As you said, an already complex case.
It is already complex, and now you're just trying to make
more and more to it, delaying it.
No.
I think at this point, it looks like it's fighting to be one of the longest cases in history, the longest standing trials in history.
And I don't think not only that, but actually just bringing him down by each and every angle there is. Like each and every.
It looks like Diddy might not have a comeback, and if he does, it will be the greatest comeback ever.
Yeah.
Because there really is so much going on. Now, guys, so to those that watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, to those that follow the Kardashians now on TikTok more than we watch them on our DSTV, a French court is set to give a verdict this coming Friday in a trial of 10 people accused of robbing Kim Kardashian of some 10 million worth of jewelry in Paris. 9 men and 1 woman have been standing trial since April, with prosecutors seeking the toughest jail term of 10 years for the four men accused of carrying out the robbery. Now, the defendants will have a final chance to speak on Friday morning before a verdict is given. So Kim, what happened was she was robbed, I think back in 2016, while she was in one of prestigious hotels in Paris, and she was there with her sister Courtney, I think, but then they had gone out. So Kim said that she was threatened with a gun to her head, tied and taped on her mouth. Now, some of the valuables stolen was a diamond ring that she was given by then husband Kanye West. It wasn't recovered, along with some of the jewelry that she had. What happened when this happened, right? The internet was a buzz. So what people said was, Kim was staying at a prestigious hotel.
Yeah.
With the amount of security there, she was robbed, you know, and all
Something
that
is
happened.
amiss.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
is amiss. They're just trying to get sales. They're just trying to make, to draw in traffic to their show.
I
Because
would
that's when we
say-
were watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Right.
And this whole thing, this whole robbery was aired on the show as well.
If it was if it was in this day, for me, it honestly felt like it was one of Kanye's gimmicks, Kanye's plots. Even though he wasn't there, I know you're gonna argue that he wasn't there.
I am, because what
Yeah.
I'm going to say is, back in if you look at it, 2016, Kanye was not doing the True Mazano.
Maybe he was just underground. Now he's just revealing it to the world like that.
It's
Like, this
exactly
is
that-
me. This is what I do.
No, I think that Kim was really, of course, watching the show, and I also did have the question. I was like, so where was,
How?
because I came from a lot of crew. So I was like, where was the camera
security.
crew? Where was the security? Where was the hotel
no,
security?
no,
Not
no,
even
no,
personal
no.
yaki. Where was the hotel? When all this was happening. So I was kind of on the side of the whole internet. It's trying to draw in trial.
Yeah.
But then again, they're sending trial. I don't think it was fake. So we'll just see how that goes. Kim did not recover her jewelry, which I don't think she needs, because she divorced Kanye.
Wow,
But
really?
anyway, we will take another break and we'll come back with some sport. I gotta say, the ring was expensive though.
It was very expensive.
Yeah, Kim wore 3.9 million on her finger.
Wow.
Guys, you know what?
Yeah,
We'll take a short break on that expensive note, people.
Yes, and we'll come back with some sport and talk about, the F1, McLaren, and definitely something to do with Manchester United. Stay tuned.
Sagara.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Midweek Express, and this is now the final segment where we get to talk about some sport. Now, Manchester United have told some staff working at the Carrington training ground that they will lose their jobs in the second round of redundancies since Sir Jim Ratcliffe bought into the club last year. Club insiders say the actual process, which could lead to 200 staff losing their jobs, has been ongoing for a number of weeks, with most staff already aware if they are to remain at the club or not. However, BBC Sport has been told some staff connected to the first team were not informed of their fate until Friday, so that preparations for Wednesday's Europa League final against Tottenham were not disrupted. It is anticipated that the sports science, medical and scouting departments will be among the areas that could be affected, with up to 200 jobs set to go. I
don't know if these are moves to better the performance of the team.
I was about to
what.
say, when it comes to these teams, first we were seeing how they were actually trimming the budget when it comes to the things that the
and the luxuries of the players. Yes,
the food that they eat, the luxuries, everything that has to do with them, they were cutting that and trimming it. Now, 200 people.
For me,
losing their jobs.
It's giving main character energy on Sir
Right.
Ratcliffe's part.
Yeah.
It's not like he's trying to fix it. It's like I'm
the boss.
Yes, I can do and say what I want with this club, because I don't see
But that's
how.
unfair.
If you're saying the staff, because now staff has nothing to do with players' performance. Let's talk
They're
honestly.
not even involved in it. Is
Like,
it because they're
the cleaners, the groundsmen, all those people,
What
they
is
have
it?
nothing to do with how good or how
No.
bad Manchester performs. Okay,
Yeah.
but then if you're saying like over 200 jobs are gonna go, what for?
I think there has to be a very good reason for it,
Nah,
for
it's
that.
just,
and
like I
and
say, it's giving.
It's giving Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying, yeah,
Main character.
I am the one in the house.
Right.
I am the one in charge. I'm going to do as I please.
It's so personal at this point, and it doesn't even make sense. I don't think a whole lot of Manchester United fans are happy about this.
No.
And I think he's directing his priorities Kusiriko, right? Would
Honestly,
you not
supporting
agree?
Manchester United, you always have to be ready for something that has to come up, and you need to brace yourself.
But would you
for
not
it.
agree, though,
You
that
need to be
it's like he's
strong.
focusing on the wrong things
Yeah.
when he's supposed to, I think, isn't that what you guys think as well?
Yeah, that's a question to you guys. So please do comment. The number is on the screen. Tell us what you think on this one, because yeah.
Now, people, as the Formula One drivers filtered through the media mix zone after the Monaco Grand Prix, it became clear they felt similar to the fans and the media. So the new pit stop rules did not help people with the racing spectacle here, because apparently what happened now is that for the first time, rather, listen to this. So for the first time, drivers were required to make a minimum of 2 pit stops, during the Sunday's race, which McLaren driver Lando Norris eventually won. So the decision came after even more criticisms from the Monaco spectacle than arose in the 2024 event, where an emotional Charles Leclerc won that one. So one complaint, or Max Verstappen is one of the people that complained, saying, if I had done 1 pit stop, I did not need a tire change. I didn't need to do another second pit stop. I would have won this race. But because it was mandatory that you do 2, you were supposed to do 2.
Yeah.
So normally you can do 1, you can do 10, you can do
as many
as you can, or even as minimal as you can, as long as you feel like your car is okay. But on the Sunday one, they were made to do 2 because
it's mandatory.
Yeah, the Monaco event organizers were saying that Monaco is a bit tough, so it's quite tight, the whole terrain and all that they had to do. So you had to make 2 to stop it, and they were mandatory.
Yeah.
Now they were complaining, it doesn't matter. So like I was saying, Verstappen is one of them who said, I didn't even need tires to be changed, but I had to do a second pit stop, which led him to not winning. Abanga leader. But because of the second pit stop, he was delayed.
For me, I personally think that they shouldn't have made it mandatory, especially when it comes to them saying, okay, you can have 2. Yeah, that is mandatory. No, because they've always been doing, and they can just go on for as long as they want, even if you want to have as many as you want or less. Now, I think it's actually having an impact when it comes to these drivers and how they perform and everything. So them saying that it's mandatory, no, it shouldn't happen like that. It should be
clearly. I think it will change, because it's not for the whole
it's for
F1.
Monaco,
It was for Monaco for the Sunday's game, where they're saying, I don't see why we had to do this.
Yeah.
And the drivers themselves were critical of it.
But
so it might change, because it wasn't only the media and
Yeah.
the people there saying 2 pieces of Zaita, also the drivers. So that might put pressure on them.
It was frustrating, if I may say.
I think it is.
Yeah, it is really frustrating, because now, just like what he's saying, that I could have won this, but because of the rule that they put now, I couldn't, because now I had to do another pit stop.
Yeah.
And then now it was actually controlling me. I couldn't perform as much as I'm used to.
So maybe it could change.
It was
I think
different.
it could have been a test drive. For the pit stop thing, where they have to make it 2 mandatory.
Hopefully it's not going to be mandatory and continue like that, because I don't think it can work.
It proved to not work, clearly,
it's
because they
very
were complaining about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
That's all we had for you on this episode of the Midweek Express. We will be here again next week. It will be June. I hope the weather doesn't
it's
drastically
month-end,
change.
guys. Yeah.
I do hope we don't just dive
it's going to be
straight
cold.
to the 5 degrees, because I
I
can't.
do hope so, that it's going to be cold.
Why?
It will be a good weather.
I
I think so. I'm not even born
Guys,
in June. I don't even know why. But you know what?
I can't.
It
I
is
can't
month-end
deal
as
with it.
well. And we do hope that you have your money secured for the rentals, for everything.
I don't like that
Because
reminder. It's not necessary.
It is
though.
necessary,
It was
okay?
not.
It is very necessary, because it's month-end. You need to be aware
I'm
of
so
those
sorry,
things,
I
okay?
had to bring this up to you guys,
Yeah.
because somebody was just trying to ignore it, and you brought
Well,
it up.
thank God it's June. Okay, it's gonna
So?
be June, so you don't really go out that much to spend money. To you?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
you don't. So you
But
actually be
winter
saving
brings
a lot.
of munchies. That's why we want to snack a lot.
Yeah.
So we would spend the money
maybe-
at Tushansa tender out. We just stock in our houses.
We're just
It's
gonna
still the
munch
same
it
thing.
and have the electricity bill go up, because now we need more of the heat and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. But that's all we have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week, same time, same place with the same two faces. Please do throw in your comments on the number that shows below on the screen. Your comments, your requests, suggestions,
Yes.
you know, the gossip also comes
Oh
through.
yeah, we really want to
We do
hear
expect
everything
that
that is
one
happening.
too. But that's all we had for you, so good night.
Good night.